What's good, LL Nation? Happy Friday, man. For the Culture Friday, right here, Lucky Lefty Podcast. We are brought to you and featuring Onora Whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. It is that premium American whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. And if you're going to drink, by all means, make sure that you do so responsibly. Left just got off a call and immediately got called in to do diaper duties. So he's going to be joining us. He's going to be joining us momentarily, man. We know the big news of the day, right? And we were tempted to jump on last night and actually do a show, and we held off because Left wanted to go through some film and really check in on Sam Hartman, who has transferred to the University of Notre Dame officially on yesterday, so he can come on today and give the breakdown. Um, he's going to have some good things to say, and I'm going to keep it a buck. I'm going to be the Scrooge today. I'm not going to be the Scrooge because of Sam Hartman, in my opinion of him as a football player, but I'm going to be the Scrooge today because of you, Notre Dame fans. I think we need to relax. I think a lot of people are putting this young man in a position to be a savior at Notre Dame, and that's not who he is. So we need to relax. This move isn't enough. It's about two or three other moves that need to be made to really give Notre Dame a chance to win a championship. Notice I said win a championship. I did not say make it to the college football playoffs. We've done that. We've done that. Every coach since Lou Holtz has either made it to a college football playoff, a national championship, or a BCS/NY6 bowl. Every coach except one, and that's Tyrone Willingham. Getting to the dance at Notre Dame can be done. Competent coaches can get to the dance at Notre Dame. We haven't won the dance. We haven't been the prom king at the dance since 1988. It's been a long time since we've been the prom king of college football. We're talking about winning it. And I'm seeing all types of stuff. People talking about getting sized up for rings. It's like relax, relax. It's almost the same thing we said about Drew Pine. Like, yo, relax. When people are saying he's the reason Notre Dame has turned things around. It's like, okay, relax, relax. He's not that dude. You don't want to do that to him. And before Left comes in, I think we're in a situation where before I'm sorry, let's start it off all wrong. I'm going to jump into Sam Hartman, but I want to make sure that we are extremely thankful for what has happened and the updates that we receive about Damar Hamlin and how he's improved. He FaceTime with his teammates today. I think that is amazing. He's breathing on his own. That's absolutely amazing. Um, doctors that I know, are amazed at the young man's recovery because he had gone over 4 minutes without blood flow to the brain. And those of you know, if you go that long without blood flow to the brain, there's a great chance that there's going to be brain damage. And for everything to be going the way it is, man, fantastic. Everyone that sent prayers and positive thoughts, we appreciate you. And I'm sure the family appreciates you. Then the news came down about former Arkansas running back, former NFL running back Peyton Hillis, in an attempt to save his children from drowning. Um, Ended up in critical condition himself, and just sad news. So once again, send your thoughts and prayers to the Hillis family um, for his recovery. And yeah, I can only imagine. Like as a parent, I know I would give my life as well, but hopefully this will not be a situation where Peyton Hillis had to give his life. for his children, and he can make a full recovery and to be able to enjoy them growing up and being a father. So I just wanted to say that. What we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about Sam Hartman. When Left jumps on, he's going to give the breakdown of scouting report. Yesterday, don't forget, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Follow us, Lucky Lefty Podcast. Smash that like button. After you do that, hit the notification bell. Every time we post something, every time we go live, you'll know. Greatly appreciate you. Apple Podcast, Spotify, all of our great content over at CFB Nation in conjunction with Irish Breakdown. It's the Lucky Lefty Podcast. You already know we spin it different. So we're going to talk about Sam Hartman today. We're going to break him down. And we're going to talk about how he impacts the offense. We touched on it a little bit yesterday because our show ended right before the announcement became official. So we talked about the dominoes and how things would fall in the quarterback room in anticipation of the news coming out on yesterday. And then when it finally did, we posted that. And then we're going to dig a little bit deeper into it once Left gets on. But it's amazing to see how enthusiastic. Like, I'm not saying don't be enthusiastic about Sam Hartman transferring to Notre Dame. By all means, be enthusiastic. When you look at the numbers don't lie, right? He's top 5 in passes down the field over 10 yards. Doesn't have an extremely strong arm. He has an average arm, but he has a way to be accurate on passes down the field. He had tall wide receivers. Notre Dame has tall wide receivers. He had a game where against Louisville that's tough. If you just go look at the breakdown of the possessions in the second half, he had a tough game. And honestly, the task put before him is we're bringing you in here to beat the good teams. Like, you're not Notre Dame can beat their schedule. They can beat their schedule. They can win 10 games, right? They ended up winning 9 games this year. We understand Stanford, unforgivable, right? If Sam Hartman's quarterbacking, they probably don't lose to Stanford, right? They probably don't lose to Marshall. But I put that on the feet. I put that at the feet of the people that recruited that quarterback room, right? And this is what I would like to say. How many transfer quarterbacks have won national championships? 1. And I don't think Sam Hartman is on that level of the 1. He's not that type. He's not that dude. He's not Joe Burrow. He's not. He's a really good quarterback, but he's not Joe Burrow. And this is why I'm saying this. And I said this when we had Coach Carl Reed on, and he disagreed, and he pointed out what Lincoln Riley was able to do at Oklahoma. Lincoln Riley hasn't won a national championship. And I don't want to talk about getting to the dance. I want to win it. I want Notre Dame to win it. And you win it by going out, recruiting quarterbacks, and developing them. There's nothing more important than that. Clemson does it. Alabama does it. Right? Georgia does it. Right? Stetson Bennett went there, left, came back. You have to be able to recruit and develop at the quarterback position to win national championships for the most part. For the most part. Right? What he does bring that you can see in the 4 quarterbacks that made the college football playoff this year is leadership, toughness, and resiliency. That's something that I think is going to bode well. He's had the C on his chest for 3 years. So in tough moments against tough teams, you like having him in the huddle. You absolutely like having him in the huddle. That's going to be beneficial. This is going to be great and make spring football even better. That's another point that I want to make. Spring football is going to be incredible. Like, Chancey Stuckey and his wide receivers have to be ecstatic. Not just because of Sam Hartman, because what we saw from Tyler Buckner and him getting better as a quarterback, you're going to have two really good quarterbacks. You're going to have two good quarterbacks helping those wide receivers get better and giving them opportunities. Right? So the group that Sam Hartman's working with, they're going to get better. The group that Tyler Buckner's working with, they're going to get better. There is no drop. I mean, look, that's beneficial for the offense as a whole. Ones and twos should be able to work with good quarterback play in practice. That's a benefit. Quarterback room got better. Then you have your youngster, Kenny Minchie, coming in. And I already know, why do you always overlook Steve Angeli? Because Steve Angeli, let's be honest, eventually might end up being the odd man out. He just may be. But it's up to him. He might surprise, and he might hold off Kenny Minchie. Heck, he might even hold off C.J. Carr when he gets here. He might be the guy that eventually wins a national championship as a quarterback at Notre Dame. Who knows? It's up to those young guys. They put in the work. But I think overall, from a preparation standpoint, elevation of the wide receivers, this move is greater than just being better on Saturdays at 2:30 p.m. or Saturdays at 6:30 p.m. This means a hell of a lot in the months of March, April, and up to the blue and gold game and into the fall. It means a heck of a lot. A heck of a lot. So from a statistical standpoint, you cannot argue what Sam Hartman means to Notre Dame offensively. Can't argue that. Can't argue that. I think, and I've spoken on this, I think one of the most ridiculous and disrespectful things that was done was Sam Hartman's picture being put out there in the first half of the Gator Bowl. It's like, dude, you could have waited 3 hours for that if that's what you wanted to do. You could have done it. And I'm glad Tyler Buckner turned the game around in spite of the mistakes he made and ended up being Gator Bowl MVP and showed the resiliency that he did. So I think we're doing Sam Hartman a disservice if we're expecting him to come in and be the savior to deliver a national championship. We're doing him a disservice. Matter of fact, I'll go a step further. Heck, I think we're going to do more for Sam Hartman than he's going to do for us. Because I still feel like there are 2 or 3 other things that need to be done to secure a national championship at Notre Dame in 2023. But Sam Hartman has an opportunity to go from a 5th or 6th round pick. I talked to my man Ryan Roberts last night after his day down in San Antonio at the All-American Bowl. And I said, Double R, what's the reports on him coming back? Because I've heard from a couple of people connected to the Bears. And he was like, 5th round, 6th round. And I said, you know what, with a good season, because I expect him to throw for over 3,500. Notre Dame hasn't had a quarterback throw for over 3,500 yards in a while. So I said, hey, if he throws for 3,500 yards, 3,500 to 4,000, how do you see that playing out for him in the draft? He said he goes from a 5th, 6th round pick probably up to a 2nd, 3rd round pick because of Notre Dame being in a pro-style offense. He's never been in a pro-style offense, so he will have proven to the scouts that he can do and produce what he can do and produce in a pro-style offense, which is going to be huge for him. It changes the narrative on him. See, it's not just about what Sam Hartman does for Notre Dame. This is also about what Notre Dame does for Sam Hartman. Because if we dig into this, and I think Brian Driscoll did a great job chronicling this, but Malik talked about it, right? Malik said the Notre Dame football program in that quarterback room is like a Malibu beachfront property to quarterbacks in college football. Did he not say that about a month ago? He said every quarterback that jumps in the portal wants Notre Dame. Malik said that. He said every quarterback in the portal is going to contact Notre Dame. And from everything that we're hearing, that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. There is no position that was more attractive than the quarterback position at Notre Dame. People understand the value of that position. They understand the business value of that position. They understand historically it's recognized as one of the most popular positions in all of college football. They understand that. They understand that. So Sam Hartman is coming in and he's going to benefit. What is he going to benefit from? A hell of a running game, a hell of an offensive line, wide receivers coming in via the transfer portal, top 5 wide receiver class coming in the 23 recruiting class, and some returning receivers that can produce with elevated quarterback play. You saw that in the Gator Bowl. You saw that. So the expectation is with a quarterback like Hartman coming in, they'll make even more plays. Why? Because they have those capabilities. They have those capabilities. What does this do for Tommy Rees? What does this do for Tommy Rees? LL question of the day. After this, does Tommy Rees have any more excuses? Is this a season where you feel like there is no excuse for Notre Dame not to average 38 points per game or more? No more excuses for Tommy Rees and the Notre Dame offense. 38 points or bust. Is that the way you're feeling? I know that's the way I'm feeling right now. Like, I don't want to hear anything else. 38 points or bust. That's it. 38 points or bust. You have the running game, you have the offensive line, you have the weapons, and you have a quarterback that this fan base, this quarterback star fan base, is ecstatic, raring to go. Ryan Loftus, man, I can't tell you, man, if I saw consistently, weekly, 300 yards per game through the air, I don't do. I might think I'm dreaming. 300 yards per game through the air at Notre Dame? I'm dreaming. I'm dreaming. Charlie Lloyd. Look, Charlie, 38 will be easy now. Hey, we all feel like, yeah, it should be. It should be. We just watched Tyler put up 45 with 3 turnovers, right? Next year, regardless of the opponent, 40, easy, especially against the good teams, right? Like we're watching Stetson Bennett, Max Duggan, JJ McCarthy putting up 40 against good teams. Now we have Sam Hartman. That's not unreasonable. I don't think that's unreasonable, Irish fans, at all. We should feel good. Now, that's the one thing I agree with that I'm ecstatic about. That this offense should be able to put up, I'll raise it a little bit. I said 38. They should be able to put up 40 points per game. Yes, they should be able to put up 40 points per game. And if the defense continues to hold teams below what they normally average, which is what the Irish defense did with Al Golden, I think with the anomaly that was Caleb Williams and USC, that bodes well. That bodes well. That bodes well. But if you're talking about getting 300 yards per game through the air and you add in 150 to 170 on the ground weekly, you're talking about approaching 500 yards of offense per game. Per game. That's crazy. And that's why we titled today, It's a New Day at Notre Dame. We could really be on the precipice of experiencing a new day at Notre Dame. 300 yards per game through the air? Man, that harkens back to the Charlie Weiss days with Brady Quinn. Lucky Lefty podcast. So I'm ecstatic. I'm ecstatic that the quarterback room has elevated for two reasons. I think we've seen Tyler Buckner get better. That's fantastic. We have Kenny Minchie, CJ Carr coming down the pipeline. It's fantastic. We bring Sam Hartman in with his experience, something we didn't have in that quarterback room. Big game experience, ability to make plays down the field at key moments. Vitally important, something we were missing. That elevates that room. And when you elevate that quarterback room, the wide receivers get better. Not just on Saturdays, but their preparation gets better. Their opportunities in the preparation gets better. That's something that hasn't been there at Notre Dame. Something that hasn't been there. You're going to have a hotly contested. I don't know what has been promised, what has been spoken about in meetings, but I said this yesterday. Tyler Buckner isn't just about to hand the job over. He's the incumbent. In his mind, I pointed to my cheek. In his mind, that's his job. That's his job in his mind. And he should feel like, look, you're going to have to take this from me. He should feel like, yo, you're going to have to take this from me. And I fully expect him to feel like that. I feel he's the wild card in this entire thing. He's the wild card. Because we just assume in a quarterback battle that Tyler Buckner doesn't have value. Tyler Buckner can do certain things for the offense that Sam Hartman cannot do. It's point blank. He can do certain things for the offense that Tyler Buckner or that Sam Hartman cannot do. That doesn't make him a better quarterback at this moment. But I'm just saying, he's not about to sit back and just say, okay, Sam Hartman, you transferred in. Let me start going through the white pages of all colleges in Division I football to see where I might end up. Tyler Buckner's not doing that. He's not doing that. Now, what happens after the spring and the competition in the fall? Who knows? But as for now, he's not about to just hand the keys over. He's not. We've seen how resilient the kid is. I expect him to continue to do that. I continue to expect him to go out there, compete, and fight. Lucky Lefty Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify. Hit us up on YouTube, Lucky Lefty Podcast. Hit the like button. Let everybody know. Lucky Lefty Podcast. You already know. We spin it different. I've spoken my piece about the enthusiasm surrounding Sam Hartman transferring in. Now I turn it over to the illustrious Lucky himself, Malik Zaire, to give you the breakdown of Sam Hartman coming in to that quarterback room in Notre Dame and telling you what he adds offensively and what he helps Tommy Rees be able to do in developing the offense. Left, the floor is all yours, bro. I went on my rant.
That's right.
Because I'm like, yo, we doing a little bit too much anointing this dude the savior. Like that, I understand. There's room for happiness, but we got to do some other things as well to secure a national championship.
There's definitely excitement that comes with Sam Hartman. I think his jersey number choice and the beard and all that gave me too much Drew Pine vibes. I probably would have said, "Look, baby, go in with a different number. I know you like 10 all your life, but 10 right now is like it's like the scarlet number, scarlet letter red." But man, I think there is, like we talked a little bit about yesterday, that there's a win-win situation for us because we have Tyler Buckner and Sam Hartman, both guys
Hmm.
that we all believe are very capable of continuing the expectation of still keeping the boat afloat of being a 10-win team. I think they both have the ability to do that. However, I'm not quite sure Sam Hartman is quite the Alabama beater, the Georgia beater of the world either. I think Tyler Buckner has a higher ceiling for it, and I think he has more talent. But I think Tyler Buckner needs a season or at least 8 games to really get under his belt of staying healthy, number one, but also being able to polish some of the decision making he has in the game. Like he said in the interview, he's just going out there running plays. He don't care if it's 3 seconds left on the clock, right before half, right in the first drive. It doesn't matter. He's like, what's the next play? That's good and bad. He needs to be a little more situationally aware, especially looking back on some of those turnovers, which were unneeded, unenforced errors. There's no reason to have to force the ball to the play design, knowing that we're up 7 going in the score. You can take the easy check down or not throw it at all, right? So I think some of that stuff has to play with game maturity. But I also think situationally in football politics, why would you bring a guy in if this is your guy of the future? If you liked so much of what he did in the bowl game, why are you bringing another guy in? Tyler mentioned it earlier in the press conferences. He knew they was bringing a guy in. He probably suggested it. The way he talked about it, he probably was like, Tommy, look, I think you need to hit that transfer portal, spruce the room up a little bit, spruce it up, like, get it, shake it up for me because I'm too bored or
But
something.
you know what?
Because he was way too comfortable with that,
Eh,
with
I'll
that.
let me throw this in there, left. I think Tyler said that because he wanted to smoke.
Yeah,
I think Tyler's that type of dude.
I
I
do
think
think
Tyler's that type of dude. Like, oh, Drew, on the other hand, cut bait and run. They all got the same talk.
yeah.
They all got the same talk. Hey, we just letting you know we're going to the portal after the season. Drew Pine was like, all right, let me go pack my stuff.
But I think Drew Prime was smart for that. I'll go
Absolutely.
fresh program, Arizona State. They not winning nothing no time soon, but you got 3 years to play. They might be good his last year,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. And on
to
top of
build with
that,
a program.
Tyler
But
was just like, let's go. Whoever.
but at the same time, you bringing a guy in for what? If I'm Tyler, I'm like, hold on now. I'm the future now. I just did some things to earn in my audition tape to make me the preseason number one. But you going out here getting the best quarterback recruit, not a guy that I can, work with, build off of, and then I play, but a guy that can come in here and supposed to be quote unquote teaching me something.
Hmm.
What are y'all trying to say? Because like I was thinking, football politically wise, Tyler has to play this next season.
Mm.
He's got to if you want to keep that order right of bringing a Minchie in, of bringing a CJ Carr in, of having a franchise guy, getting that Ian Book experience type of guy under your belt, a Sam Hartman under your belt. I think that's the best way to build on victory because then you can just add transfers like a Drake May. You just add pieces at that point. So I think that's the right way of doing it. But Alabama's doing it. But I do also think that what are you trying to say? Yeah, it should be a competition, but then again, we're trying to win those next 2 games. Those next 2 games are quarterbacks that have played the whole season, are franchise guys that we believe in, not guys that had to fight tooth and nail just to play. and looking over his shoulder. So I think it's a little more interesting unless Tyler concedes another year and then tries to battle it out with damn near just as much experience as what Kenny Minchie would be going into. So maybe they do have a plan, but I think it's going to be interesting. Uh, what did they tell Sam Hartman? Sam Hartman watched the game. He was probably like, oh, they probably like this kid, Tyler. He's tough. He does some things differently than me. But Tommy said, I'm good. Was that the conversation? We know Tommy has said it before.
He said he's good left.
He probably was like, no, you're straight. It's just window dressing, Just got to butter the kid up so he stays. Who knows? But no guy is thinking that had an illustrious career that he did at Wake Forest, potentially trying to go to the draft, dropping out of the draft to come to Notre Dame to sit the bench or to play part-time. Now, I'm sure Marcus Freeman probably gave him something of a, all right, you're going to have to compete. We're not giving nothing to nobody, which is true. But we know that there's conversations that go otherwise that may have convinced him to come. So, I think they probably let the cat out the bag with bringing somebody in because that's what we need. So how much belief do they really have in Tyler Buckner and his development? And what is the conversations that was had with Sam to get him to commit on his first visit? I don't even think he visited anywhere else, so we'll see how that goes.
Left, I challenge this fan base all the time. I've done it before, right? Like, because I'm like, I understand why morale might be a little bit lower than it should, but I'm glad that video went out with Lou Holtz. I've stood on this platform many a times against Ohio State fans, Michigan fans, Alabama fans. I tell them all the time, you're right. You want to call us arrogant? You're darn right. You want to call us something else? Okay, we'll be that. We'll be whatever you call us. Because at the end of the day, we're Notre Dame and you not. Period. You can be happy about whatever you're doing. We're Notre Dame, you're not. And you're not about to change the way I feel about my squad, my program. Period. We are so starved at the quarterback position that the reaction to Sam Hartman was like Drake May was walking through the door, bro. Like Bryce Young was about to walk through the door. And it's like, yo, don't, because in my opinion, that's being unfair to him. Like, don't let him come in because Notre Dame is about to benefit him just as much as he's about to benefit Notre Dame. Like, you can believe that. Like, this is not a mesh offense. This isn't trying to do everything with A.T. Perry and your receivers. No, there's going to be some weeks where you're going to lean on these 3 dudes behind you and the 5 dudes in front of you. You won't even need to throw for over 150 yards today. Relax. Yeah. Relax. Yeah. You don't have to go out there every week and win the game like you had to do against Wake Forest. Notre Dame is about to do for Sam Hartman just as much as he's going to do for them.
Yeah.
So you can say, yes, it's a really nice relationship, really good marriage on paper. Wake Forest ain't Notre Dame.
Right.
Your biggest game every year is Clemson.
Right.
That's it.
And we whoop Clemson.
We can talk about the 3. You got Clemson, you got USC, and Ohio State, my man. You ain't played in games. You haven't played in games like that.
Never.
Sam Hartman hasn't played in games like that.
Never. Not with the expectation and the everything involved, and he's always played either the underdog position or a guy with no chance.
Last I checked, everybody wants to beat Notre Dame. Everybody gets up for Notre Dame. Everybody on the schedule.
They just play better.
They just play better.
How many times has he experienced a team just playing better just because of who it was, right?
Yeah.
You go into games, people expected to blow you out. That's a whole different that's That's a whole different expectation
Dude,
when a team going in there. Oh, we play Wake Forest. I'm finna have stats this game. I'm gonna pad the stats.
once
But,
again.
but then you go in the Notre Dame situation,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, okay, don't lose this game. Don't go out here just willy nilly, not prepared, because the stakes are high.
Stakes are high, my man.
Yeah,
Stakes are high. And no one can tell you about it. You have to
yeah,
experience it.
yeah,
Left, you tell them, Left. It's
yeah.
nothing, bro. There's nothing like walking out that tunnel game 1 against Texas. Nothing like that. You can't get there anywhere else in college football.
Yeah,
Maybe Michigan, Ohio State.
maybe.
But the atmospheres that he's about to walk into, USC coming into Notre Dame Stadium with Caleb Williams, prime time,
Ohio State coming in there.
prime time. Sam Hartman's never felt that. He never. But you know who has felt that? Everybody else that's his supporting staff
Yeah, that's why it's like it's
and the
a
group
lot
of players
easier.
around him.
It's a lot easier to deal with when it's that.
So Notre Dame is going to help him transition into some things that he has not had the opportunity to experience yet.
Real nicely though.
Oh,
Because guess
absolutely.
what? You got a great offensive line. You can operate. Just imagine having all that expectation with a shifty offensive line.
Yeah.
So you're welcome. So it's like, okay, we set the table. Get busy.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Left.
To be 2 games better, man.
Yo, LL question of the day before you jumped on. Are all the excuses out the window for Tommy Rees now?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
how much should Notre Dame put up on an average? How many points are you expecting, Left?
I'm expecting 38 or better.
You hit my same number on the head. I said 38. A lot of people in the chat were saying 40. They were like, dude, they should average 40.
Sam Hartman going to New York if it's that.
Tyler just put up 45 with 3 turnovers, bro.
Look, that's a South Carolina team with a bunch of excuses. All them excuses is why we had to put that many. You know, they was crying before the game started.
Look, man, I promise you, I'm happy. Because I told them, some people might think, oh, this cat Shaun is throwing cold water on the situation. No, I'm not.
No, I'm not.
I'm just telling people don't be driving down the street with your brake lines cut. Relax.
Yeah.
Relax. There's some other things you got to do in this transfer portal to secure some things. Now, we're going to talk about that in the second half of the show. But in order to secure some things, there's some other things that have to be done. Because last I checked, Sam Hartman only plays one way.
That's right.
He only plays one way. How does he change the offense, Left? Go ahead and let everybody know the difference between this offense with Tyler and the difference between this offense with Sam Hartman.
I think you have a much more mature and open playbook with Sam Hartman. You'll see a lot more concepts and maybe even some heavier play actions. But with Tyler, you're getting the RPOs. You're going to see some of the stuff that's similar, but Sam Hartman can't do as much as Tyler Buckner. So you'll see a more methodical, some of Sam's favorite plays from Wake Forest probably be in there. But with Tyler Buckner, you'll get much more dynamic play calling, hopefully, because you have to be more in sync with what Tyler's good at, and that's running the football. So, yeah, he can throw it here and there, but his decision making on the same plays that Sam Hartman may have are maybe different. Maybe Sam Hartman can sit in there a little longer. Maybe Sam Hartman can work the pocket a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Buckner's still keen to either throwing it a semi-great pass to the first read or blowing an open one. So it's definitely you get a lot more variables running the quote-unquote same plays. That's why I'm like, you're not going to run the same plays. You're going to run things that he's comfortable with, and that's running the football. That's RPOs. That's play action. That's, maybe a few concepts here or there depending on what the situation is, because he's a guy that's going to call it and haul it. Sam Hartman's maybe a little more particular. It's like getting a finesse boxer. He does a little bit more. He's just not ground and pound as much. So I think with Sam Hartman, you'll see a lot more. Let me get you to the league plays, and Caleb Smith's going to be in those plays a lot, running all type of option routes and everything but a go route. So I think you're going to have a variety of different calls. There's a lot more on Tommy's plate this year than it is from last year because Drew's been there. Sam, you're kind of throwing here stuff that he did, stuff that you like, stuff that you want, kind of thing. Tyler Buckner's, we got a package of plays that we can roll with and add stuff in there. So it's similar but not similar, like same beast, different animal kind of thing. But I think with both of them, like I said, you can win some games. Is Sam going to come more in clutch in the games that we really need? It's still yet to be seen because he's never even played at a level like this before. Tyler's played at a level, but he hasn't stayed healthy enough to play enough to be polished to where I'm like, okay, I know he's going to go in there, control the clock, handle this and that. I'll go in there kind of with my hands like kind of tight. Like he can go in there and blow it when we don't need it, or he can go in there and score when we need it the most. So definitely a wild card, I would say, for Tyler Buckner. And for Sam, we just got to see if he's ready for the next step, because I know Notre Dame is the next and closest stepping stone from an all-inclusive schedule and expectation and things that go into getting ready for the NFL. And so the expectation for him, he's never had before. Tyler hasn't, just has to stay healthy. So you get two interesting ideas.
Now I talked about this, and maybe you can dig into it because you were the guy behind Ev working with Chase and working with the second group of receivers. How does having Tyler and Sam in the spring, how does that elevate the preparation for all of those guys in the wide receiver room that will probably be working with a pretty good quarterback, regardless of who's throwing the ball to them?
Well, when you got a guy of Sam's stature coming in, is a heavy expectation. Oh, we can get off and start rolling, but Tyler's my guy, so we'll see how it goes. So it adds some anxiety. Well, it did for me because I'm coming back, and Ev coming back to school, so it's two whole different type of things. Ev's a whole different personality, so um, being prepared and getting ready for the season. It was interesting because I stuck closer to the guys that I kind of came into school with. And, some of the older guys I kind of waited towards closer to the season. But it's all about how you approach it from an individual's perspective. Is Tyler Buckner a off-season, workout warrior? Or is he like Shaq? I just get in shape when the season comes. So, you just depend on the type of guy. Now, Sam Hartman's coming in hopefully with his hair on fire a little bit more, trying to get familiar with the guys, get used to things. It's more of a natural progression, like a freshman coming into school, except he's a little bit more experienced with what's coming in. So I know they're probably knowing how both of those guys are probably good, upstanding citizens with, little edge on a competitive one-on-one type of level. I think they'll probably work good together, getting the guys out there and throwing the ball around. I do think Tyler has some killer instinct in him, but it's more so for the game, not more of the competing with the guy in the room, which is interesting. So who knows what Sam's personality is like in the room? I know he looks like Drew Pine, so I'm pretty sure him and Tommy uh, got it off great, and Marcus Freeman just wants the right answer.
What is going to be the biggest hurdle for Sam Hartman to transition from that mesh system to the pro style system, in your opinion?
I think just getting comfortable is one thing to know what's going on, but then being able to rep it and feel the different nuances of the play against different looks, and just knowing your guys that you can really get the timing with, because that's sort of what this offense. You got to have good timing, got to have, be on time with your feet, tying your feet to your eyes, all about getting reps for a guy like Sam Hartman. And the more comfortable and confidence you get, I think he'll be able to execute it a lot faster because he's been at this level and played at a pretty high level before. So I think it'll take some adjustment, getting comfortable and confident, but that all varies based on the individual. I think he's confident in himself with what he's done in the past, but this is a new level for him. So does he adjust well to that? You can kind of tell in the spring and get closer in the fall.
It's going to be interesting. Sam Hartman transfers to Notre Dame. Fan base should be absolutely excited, ecstatic for how the quarterback room has improved in the last 7 days. Like what has happened with watching Tyler get better and getting Sam Hartman come in, like the quarterback room in Notre Dame looks totally different than it looked just 7 days ago. That's something to be
Yeah, and the
ecstatic
good
about.
thing too. Yeah, and we should expect us to start games faster and to be more consistent on offense, which means scoring more points. I think the top 5 scoring offense goal is what should be in the room. It should be as an offensive goal to be top 5 scoring because we have 2 capable quarterbacks. It's just the expectation. I mean, think about it. When you're playing for a team like Wake Forest, you're taking the big shots, no sweat, because nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Right.
But when you play in Ohio State at home and that post route's open, you kind of squeezing your butthole a little tight because you're like, okay, I don't want to miss it. That's a whole different experience. It's like, all right, I don't want to choke on this easy free throw. But before it's like, man, I'm shooting these with my eyes closed. Granny shooting it. Shooting it behind the back, throwing it over my head because it's Wake Forest. They don't even fill up the stadium every game. So it's not a comfortable position to just jump into unless, you got that dog in you. And, I think it'd be good to see. Now for Tyler Buckner, same thing, and same rules apply, but in a different structure because now you got to learn how to play within the game. You be going hard in the paint. Not even Shaq dunking every time. He might get a layup in there, but Tyler's trying to dunk it every time. You're not big enough to dunk it every time.
Right. Absolutely. That's a great analogy, right? Dude, instead of being Shaq, you're more like Zion trying to play a Shaq game at a smaller size, and that's why you end up injured all the time.
Yeah, you're injured all the time. You trying to dunk it every time? Like, come on now.
Yeah. Lucky Lefty podcast, man. Well, that does it, man, for this part of the show where we talked about Sam Hartman coming into Notre Dame via the transfer portal, the impact, the difference between him and Tyler offensively, and the expectation for the offense. And no more excuses for Tommy Rees. We thank you so much. Apple Podcast, Spotify, CFB Nation in conjunction with Irish Breakdown. It's the Lucky Lefty podcast. You already know we spin it different. Well, now that we have Sam Hartman in the fold, let's be realistic and let's talk about it. We're hearing that the search for a quarterback came down to 3 different individuals. Sam Hartman ends up being the guy. But what we're hearing, and then Irish Breakdown, Brian Driscoll wrote an article about this, but we had also heard the same thing, and you chronicled this or predicted this. You said, don't worry. I believe it was right after the Clemson game. That Tuesday, you said, don't worry, Notre Dame fans. Notre Dame football is like that beach house in Malibu with a nice for sale sign saying, come play quarterback at Notre Dame. And based upon all the reporting, Notre Dame didn't have to reach out to anybody.
Yeah, no.
Everybody was calling, even before the season ended. Like, yo, what's up with that quarterback position?
Yeah. It was like we was like the group 112 and had an open spot. And we just dropped one of our classics, and it just so happens. We got a spot open. And when you 112, you ain't gotta call nobody. 112 was hot.
That cat Marcus Freeman was slim.
He was slim, man. He said, look.
Oh.
It was no doubt in my mind after watching the first couple series of Drew Pine and Cal that I knew that for sale sign was on Craigslist the next day. Quarterback for sale. Who wants to come?
Right.
Because everybody watching that Drew Pine debacle in the first half of Cal was like, there's no way Notre Dame is putting that at the quarterback position in 2022. Top program in the country puts that on film. I know they're dying for a guy. So I'm not surprised. You see that gold helmet shining when it's the only game on TV. That's the other thing. Sam Hartman has never been the only game on TV. Never. Prime time night game with 80,000?
Mm-hmm.
Never. And then you're expected to win against a good team? Never. Never been in no situation like that. So these are all the factors that you're not going to see on paper. You're not going to see in the stat sheet because it comes down to mentality. What's the kid's makeup? We know that you're a captain, you're a leader. That goes a long way. But as an individual, that's what you are on the field, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tobias Merriweather running past people, and you got to push it an extra 10, 15.
Yo, you heard what Caleb Smith said when he did his official visit.
He said,
He said he looked at. He's like, "Whoa, that dude's a freshman."
so he only gonna get faster and bigger and stronger. You ain't never had a receiver like that at no Wake Forest. Now y'all had some good guys, but they were Wake Forest receivers. Braden Lindsey probably shined down at Wake Forest. For real. For real. Yeah, probably. It's just different.
So if Marcus Freeman was slim, who would be the other three in the group? That cat Al Washington would probably sing tenor.
Oh, you know Dina McCullough in the back.
Dealer McCullum definitely in the back. He's cute. Dealer McCullum would be cute. He would be the second lead
They
singer.
ride on the plane, in the limo, in the jet.
Yeah.
They probably on the yacht somewhere in Miami after the season for a week, recruiting. They still working, they just on the yacht. That's all. Recruiting, but they just on the yacht.
Oh man. And then I think it would come down between Mickens and O'Leary. Maybe even Mace. Brian Mason could probably be a good backup singer too. A Notre Dame's version of 112.
We have something nice. Version of 112, man.
Only on the Lucky Lefty podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, CFB Nation in conjunction with Irish Breakdown. It's the Lucky Lefty podcast. You already know. We spin it different, featuring Onora Whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com, that premium American whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. And if you're going to drink, by all means, make sure that you do so
responsibly.
You got to do it responsibly. So what does all of this mean? Expectations now. Let's set the expectations. We're going to set the early expectations now, right? Look,
without knowing who's starting with 10-2.
Let me give you we did deal breakers for the 2023 season 2 days ago. If Tyler Buckner stays and Sam Hartman is the starter, if Tyler Buckner is not in the game in the third quarter at least 4 times next year, because Notre Dame is blowing people out, there should be no pause anymore putting the backup in.
Yeah.
If Tyler Buckner's on this roster.
Yep.
You get up 20, 23, 27 points, man, put Tyler in the game.
That's the expectation.
Put Tyler in the game.
They both play, but we blowing them out in the first half.
Absolutely. Put Tyler in the game. Because college football has shown us that Sam Hartman more than likely is going to miss a game. Twist an ankle. Something.
Or maybe not be good.
No, I'm not going to go that far. Notre Dame makes you better. Notre Dame makes you better.
We give you the net of 10-2. I think we're good enough for both of them that not knowing who's starting, we're 10-2.
Mm-hmm.
Who's winning the other 2 games? Who's getting into the playoffs and getting their knees and jerseys dirty and leading the charge?
What are you expecting, Left? 11-1?
Yeah, I mean,
That is like the floor now, right?
Either 11-1 or undefeated.
That's the floor now, bro.
We're trying to go to the championship.
Marcus Freeman is kind of making it hard on himself now. It's like, hey,
making it hard on yourself.
All right, bro. I mean, it is Notre Dame, so the expectations are high anyway. No,
it can't be 9.
No.
So we at the net is 10-2 because it can't be 9.
No, I don't. 10 wins is not a successful season that year.
The worst it can be.
No, because you definitely can't lose any of the games outside of the big 3 and Clemson. Any game outside of that, the game shouldn't even be close, honestly.
We got to go 2 for 3 this year. We went 1 for 3 last year, got to go 2 for 3 this year, which makes it a 10-2 season at least.
And we owe Navy. We owe Navy a beatdown. Because we were blowing them out, let them come back. We owe them a beatdown. Game 1. Tyler should be able to get in the game in the third quarter. Make it happen. What are your expectations defensively, though, Lefty? This is where I asked this question, and I got pushback. Hear me out, Left. Hear me out. Anthony Lucas, top 5 defensive lineman in the 2022 class. Notre Dame was in his Final 4. Ultimately, he ended up going to Texas A&M. He transfers. He's in the portal. Notre Dame has spoken to him. 300 pounds. In the middle. Exactly what you need. 5-star. He might be more impactful than Sam Hartman.
I would agree with that.
And people might say, oh, no. A big dude in the middle.
What we need.
Plugging things up, shutting down the run and making teams one. Can you imagine if they had a defensive line that made offenses one-dimensional and they could only throw with the defensive backs they have coming back?
Will it look like Alabama?
Can you imagine?
Alabama's D-line is what separates them every freaking time.
And Georgia. The only difference is Georgia's defensive backfield is just really suspect, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how Kirby Smart does it. He coaches his butt off.
Well, that D-line make it hard, though.
Look, and when I said that, people were like, no, Sam Hart's more important. I didn't say he was more important. I said, who's going to make the bigger impact on winning a national championship?
That D lineman. Because Sam Hartman and Tyler Buckner aren't generational talents now. It's not like we got a Deshaun Watson or a Trevor Lawrence or nothing, but we got some guys that are capable of doing just enough.
Yeah, I agree with that. Notre Dame, bro, we said it yesterday. Marcus Freeman really must have had a discussion with the administration and said, look, if you're not going to get me NIL, you have to let us get these transfers in.
Yeah. I mean, but the transfers are good transfers too. They're not
No, not. And TCU is the perfect representation for how college football has changed. Tennessee, they built programs and got to a national championship level through the transfer portal. Making the right decisions, bringing the right kids in, putting them in the right system, coaching them up, and having a leader like Duggan and some other kids and having a first-round wide receiver like Quentin Johnson. And voila, there they are, upsetting Michigan with a chance to win a national championship on Monday night. So expectation is that it's not just about Sam Hartman. Getting guys like an Anthony Lucas, a Birch from South Carolina, who's a big end. He's a 5-star kid. He jumped into the portal. The Oklahoma State safety that was on campus as well with Sam Hartman, Tom Loy, crystal ball him in Notre Dame. And I watched him. Physical safety. Physical safety would be a really good match with Xavier Watts, in my opinion. A really good match with Xavier Watts, in my opinion. But I think Adon Schuler is going to be a guy that gets in and gets some reps in his first season in Notre Dame on the back end. I really believe he's that type of player. And he's showing out down in San Antonio this weekend. He's showing how good he can be. So, don't shortchange the recruiting class defensively. Don't shortchange the recruiting class defensively because Drake Bowen has showed his tail this week as well down in San Antonio. But I think there are a lot of things that need to be done defensively before we start, raising the flag saying, national championship. But this is the thing. Marcus Freeman believes that they can win a national championship in 2023. And that belief didn't start after the bowl game. That belief started right around the time that they were getting ready to face Clemson. He believed in the team that they were, and he said, we're going to be an even better team. Like, I know who we are now, and I know who we're going to be. So his expectation for the 2023 season started sometime during the 2022 season when he was looking at the youngsters that he had defensively and what he knew he had. He was like, yo, if I can just go get me a quarterback to be more efficient, elevate this passing game a little bit, I think we can do it. I think they're definitely contenders right now.
Yeah, we're contenders with that. That still need to be proven. I would like to see how we operate in that 12 playoff system, being a 5 seed, considering we're not in a conference championship. But playing week to week, back to back, it would be good to see how we ride that wave. Maybe we can make an impact. But maybe having that long ride would also benefit having two guys that we don't know if they'll both make the whole season. So at least, like we said, we can win with either one. It's just the identity of what we're doing needs to be established going into the season. And that means having a quarterback that is going to be a guy coming out of spring.
Yeah, I agree with that. Notre Dame this is how aggressive they're being left. They're still going after wide receivers, even after Caleb Smith transferring. And it's like, man, wait a minute. You have 4 coming in. You get Caleb Smith. You have 5 returning. You want some more wide receivers? It's almost like they're not allowing anybody on that roster to feel comfortable about their position.
Well, those positions need to be upgraded anyway. And I think with recruiting, the guys coming in are good, but they're just young and unproven. Still leaves room to bring in guys with experience since Braden Lindsey's leaving, put another veteran in the room. Caleb Smith's a good addition, but he's also 260 pounds or something. So, Marvin Harrison Jr. may jump in that portal because Ohio State got no quarterback for the next couple of years.
You know what? We can get to that. Look, how do you feel about that, Left? Because Marvin Harrison might be looking at like, yo, this is a first-time starter. Like Cal McCord, he gets to see him in practice, Left.
You're not leaving. You leaving because you know what you got.
Right.
You're not leaving speculating like us fans.
Right.
Because he's there at practice every day.
Right.
You don't just close his eyes after he take his rep and don't watch Kyle the next rep after him.
Yeah.
So he's around enough to know, all right, Just like Braden Lindsey was around Tyler enough to be like, yeah, he can run the ball.
Yeah.
Because he's seen him at practice.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
you
I
know,
don't blame him. Don't waste no years that you got to be there on no quarterback that you don't think can get it done. Not in this day and age. Not
facts.
Jordan Addison took no time. He's like, look, Kenny Pickett gone, I'm gone. What are we talking about?
Yeah, he wanted no parts of Keaton Slovis, bro. No parts.
And Keaton didn't want no parts. He didn't even make it throughout the season. So just imagine if Jordan stayed.
Mm-hmm.
He'd probably be upset.
Mm-hmm. Yo. So man, now we have to face Marvin Harrison Jr. with Caleb Williams. I mean, we faced him with Stroud. So I mean, you're gonna have to beat him with a good wide receiver either way. Doesn't make a difference. Jordan Addison, Marvin Harrison Jr. It is what it is. You put Benji on one and Cam Hart on the other one, and let's go play. Let's go play. Now we need our defensive line to actually get to Caleb Williams and get him on the ground. Period. Because we were able to make him move off his spot. We just couldn't get him on the ground.
Couldn't get him.
Speaking of that, shout out to Justin Adamiola, who joins his brother Jason Adamiola and going to the next level. He'll be declaring for the NFL draft. He announced that this morning on social media. And would have liked to see him back. But the question is, how much could he really improve his stock? Right? How much could he really improve his stock? Because I don't think, to me, he's not like that speed guy that's going to come in and get you 12 to 15 sacks. He's not a Foskey.
He need to slim down, play linebacker.
Yeah. So he's a developmental guy, but he's a Notre Dame guy, man. Notre Dame guys know how to play in the NFL. And scouts and coaches know that. He'll find a roster. He'll lock on. He'll develop. Dude, I mean, Notre Dame tight. Brock Wright, last Sunday was like the day for Notre Dame tight ends in the NFL. Yeah. Like, it seemed like every NFL tight end that was a Notre Dame grad had a touchdown or a big catch last Sunday. It was crazy. And that's why Notre Dame has the fifth most players in the NFL, very quietly, right?
You got Durham, you got Brock, you got Cole, you have Rudolph.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw a video, I believe it was Josh Pate, and he was pushing back on people because Caden Proctor, the number one offensive tackle, switched late from Iowa to Alabama. There was a lot of talk of, Alabama using NIL. You use NIL to entice Keon Keeley to decommit and end up in their 23 class. And Josh Pate, who I really respect, went on this rant saying, no, dude, they don't have to give NIL. They put 7 offensive tackles in the first round. And I sat there and I was like, yo, that's a fact. I said, but you can look around and ask, how good are those Alabama offensive linemen in the NFL? Like, name me one elite Bama offensive lineman out of the 7.
Evan Neal's coming on.
There you go.
Giants in the
There you go. You might get 2 out of the 7 that you say, okay, those dudes are elite. Now run me the elite offensive lineman that Notre Dame has in the NFL.
Well, Zach is a Hall of Famer. So
Zach, Ronnie, Liam has become like, dude, I saw the Dolphins, like Dolphin fans celebrating his return from injury. McGlinchey was San Francisco. Like, dude, like, you can get all the 5 stars you want. What do they do when they get to that next level? And that's why Notre Dame can always get offensive linemen, right? Because they can tell you, man, look,
we still play.
And I'm sorry, we didn't even mention Q. We literally just overlooked Q. Who might be the best? He might be the best lineman in the league.
I'm sorry, Q. If you ever watched this,
listen, bad.
You would have been the first one. I'm sorry. I just know Zach because that's the Cowboys playing and shit.
So it's like that's the counter to Alabama. Yeah, you guys put people in the first round. We turn you into the best lineman in the NFL. Like, y'all can have that
outside of this,
right? Yeah, you can get to the first round
and go build your own house,
right?
You know what I mean? You come and get all the knowledge. It's a tree of wisdom over here.
Yeah, heck yeah. So, and we had, Notre Dame is a place where you have first rounders get up in the middle of the season and walk into the coach's office like, "Hey, coach, I think I'm gonna go. I think I'm about to quit and go take this job in DC." Like, son, what are you talking about? You projected to be a first round pick next year. Yeah, I know, but I, this is my passion. I think I'm gonna go do this. Only in Notre Dame, bro. You're not getting that anywhere else. That's what you get at Notre Dame. It's a special place. So the floor for you, did you set it at 10 or 11? Was it 10 you set it at?
I want it to be 11, but 10 is the net. 10 is the worst case possible next year.
Worst case,
It's 10.
it's 10. Okay. So what are the other positions you want to fill? When you look at this roster and you say, okay, you have the quarterback in the portal, give me the top three next positions that you need to fill via the portal.
That D line we talked about, I think getting a receiver wouldn't be bad.
How many D linemen do you need? How many D
I would
linemen are
love
you
to
trying to
get
get?
two big guys.
Okay.
I would love to get two big guys. Potentially offensive lineman if it's the right fit. Definitely go for a receiver because you can never have enough. I think we just got the safety Bryce Harper committed from Oklahoma State, or what is he? Slot corner? Yeah, safety. Probably play slot corner maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Another stab at it, but I think it does help the secondary. And it wouldn't be bad uh, to see us get maybe a veteran linebacker that
Mm.
that kind of has been proven, but needs another opportunity like a Sam Hartman. Only because I think that the guys we got are really good, just young, and there's nothing wrong with having a guy like that come in that you could maybe even push guys like Maris to get better, because Maris has got to be in a leadership kind of role, and
Mm-hmm.
it would be nice to see that happen.
That's interesting that you said that, Left, because I would have never really thought about the linebacker position, but just staying, in tune with what we're seeing from Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman and why it's a new day. Like, yo, no, we're not just about to sit here and make it comfortable at Notre Dame. Everything is about to be uncomfortable. Like
That's right.
you thought we were competing last year, wait until this spring.
Yeah.
Youngsters, don't think just because guys are graduating that you're just walking in to a job. No, no, no. So that linebacker, that veteran linebacker, would be very interesting, especially if they could get a guy. And we talked about it. They're sitting around waiting for an NFL type interior offensive lineman to hit the portal. They're waiting. Notre Dame's like, okay, let one hop into the portal. You darn right. You darn right. We're gonna go get him. We're absolutely gonna go get him. Lucky Lefty Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, CFB Nation, all of our great content, along with our brother John Garcia Jr., who just posted 2 shows this week covering the All Star games and bowl games and recruiting 23 and 24. Check it out. CFB Nation in conjunction with Irish Breakdown. It's the Lucky Lefty Podcast. You already know we spin it different. Let's get these questions in the super chats out of the way. Left. Joe Papiti, thank you guys for the show. I get it. Hartman is a gunslinger. I get it. And he makes the quarterback room better. I get it. But our D has to be much better. He himself does not get us the natty. Joe, you're preaching to the choir. You're preaching to the choir.
Definitely
Another
got
one.
D line for sure.
Yeah. Joe had another one. Thank you for the super chat. As happy as I am about Hartman, my worry is this: TB doesn't get the job. He transfers, and then here we are again with a sophomore quarterback with no game experience. So back to the portal we go.
Yeah, I mean that TV situation is very interesting just because he's only getting older and you keep putting roadblocks almost in front of him. Not that he can't overcome or outcompete that whole uh, propaganda they throw out there. I think that's crazy. But it's a business at the end of the day, and you want to put the best product out there. And when you keep recreating the product without fully testing it, you'll never know if it's really good. So at some point, they just got to say, all right, Tyler, you can play, and we'll see how it goes. If not, we can move on. But this is his second year of going through a on and off seasons. A lot of it is his fault, but not staying healthy. But at this point, you got to make a decision as a staff to be like, okay, well, we got these youngsters coming in, and we got a guy that's a transition bridge type of quarterback for 1 year that can keep us afloat. What's the game plan? Because you got another guy that is just happy that he's getting backup reps, is going back to the gulag of scout team and splitting those reps.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see how they make those decisions moving forward.
Yeah, John Massey says, Malik and Shaun, is this really the right move? So Hartman plays a year. Indy's in the same spot a year from now as today. Tyler needs game reps to develop. I understand the injury concerns, though. Look, I really believe, I'm going to be honest, I really believe both quarterbacks are going to be on the roster in the fall. As I sit here today, I really believe that. I think the staff was steadfast in saying that Tyler was the guy when it was him and Drew Pine. They were honest with Tyler about what they feel like the team can do in 23. And that lets Tyler know the level he needs to get to be able to do that. And then they're bringing in another quarterback. They were very transparent. So Tyler knows. Tyler knows. And I think Tyler trusts Notre Dame. And Tyler's the type of kid, number one, that's going to stick around for 3 years to make sure he gets that degree. Number one. That's number one. So I think he's going to be on the roster just simply for that. He's going to be on the roster.
And that's fine. Go in there and it's kind of like, once you're in there for the past 2 years, you got to kind of.
Dude, why would you not get the degree? Why? Get the degree. If he wants to leave after 3 years, then fine. But after 3 years, you're the guy. Which goes to one of our deal breakers left. He should get plenty of playing time this season. He should be playing in the third quarter of at least 4 or 5 games. And he should have packages in the red zone. Tyler Buckner should get plenty of time if he is the backup quarterback. Plenty of action. And you keep him healthy going into the next year. And you have a guy with experience that has gotten much better and has been developed. And Kenny Minchie will be a sophomore as a backup, ready to roll. Now you're building something within your building and recruiting that you were able to bridge with Sam Hartman in the transfer portal.
Yeah, that's right.
And Marcus Freeman and Tommy Rees should be able to go and let Tyler know, like, yo, if indeed you don't win the starting job, this is you. You can still be our national championship quarterback. We believe in you. We believe in you. And they can convey that. I believe that wholeheartedly, man. Well, Left, great week of shows, man. Great week of shows. As always, Lucky Lefty Podcast on YouTube. Subscribe, hit the like button, share, let everybody know. Lucky Lefty Podcast. We spin it different. Yes, I see you in the chat. I think there are a lot of changes coming. I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. A lot of position changes coming. I think a lot of things are going to move and shift around on the roster. I think they really believe that they have a great shot at winning a national championship in college football. Number one, you know what's different, Left?
What?
There's only one big-time quarterback on one team.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? Coming into the season, the big-time quarterbacks were the big-time quarterback and Bryce. So you expected Alabama. You had
and Drake May.
And Drake May, right? Next year, you don't know who Alabama's quarterback is going to be. They had Jalen Milroe working with the wide receivers in bowl prep. So I guess he's out of the running. Kyle McCord At Ohio State, Cade Klubnik and Clemson. Like, who are you? What quarterbacks? That's why they feel like the opening is there. Who's the quarterback? It's Caleb Williams. You beat him. Maybe you see him in the playoff again. Maybe you don't. But you don't have those big time quarterbacks at the big time programs, the proven commodities. You don't have that next year. So next year, could it be you could even see more teams close to a TCU jump up into the college football playoff?
Yeah. Quarterbacks are pretty even nowadays.
Quarterbacks are even, man. What are we talking about? Bo Nix at Oregon?
Please.
Michael Penix Jr. at Washington? Do these quarterbacks scare you? Like, they're good, but do they scare you? The only quarterback that scares you if you're Notre Dame is Caleb Williams. And honestly, Notre Dame feels like they should have beat them.
Yeah.
They feel like Utah took our game plan and beat them the following week. If you ask the people in the building, they feel like we played horrible against USC. And we still were 10 points down with the ball in the fourth quarter. So they feel like they have a great chance. Heck, all of college football should feel like they have a great chance left. Because it's a lot of young quarterbacks, first-time starters, taking the field at big-time programs. Unless the rumor of Spencer Sanders to Georgia falls through, if he ends up at Georgia, that might flip some things. But other than that, it should be wide open, man. You know what time it is.
Petticoat. Petticoat junction.
It's time to get petty.
Oh, we did a good job executing.
Are you upset with something?
And fire up the Petticoat Junction train.
I just don't like you.
You don't?
No.
What is today's petty historic Petty Junction?
Petty Junction, pettiest story of the day, brought to you by Onora Whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. That premium American whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. What you got on the petty train, Left?
Man,
I got a good one, but
there's a lot going on. Kick it off.
Well, first of all, shout out to Drake Bowen and Jeremiah Love for being selected as the Gatorade National Player of the Year winners in the state of Indiana and the state of Missouri. Shout out to them for doing that. All right. Left, something irked me yesterday.
What happened?
You know the most popular amongst culturally, this is for the Culture Friday, culturally, do you know the top 5 ice creams for our culture Left? Let me just educate.
It's probably something not top 5 to us.
It is butter pecan.
That's pretty good.
Black walnut.
Black walnut.
Oh, dude. Black walnut is huge amongst older black people. Oh, dude. Go into any.
You talking about the black walnut cherry one?
No, just regular black walnut. You walk into any Baskin Robbins where there is a concentrated population of the culture, they run out of black walnut faster than any other ice cream. It's amazing. Like older people just come buy it up and store it. I don't know if they just store it like for the year, but literally it's just crazy. But this is my point. In knowing that black walnut is in that top 5, my grandmother was the one that introduced me to black walnut when I was a kid. She used to make me walk to the corner store. I would buy her lottery tickets, right? I would buy her lottery tickets. I would get her cigarettes. This is when you had the glass bottles of pop that you could buy individually. I don't even know if you remember those, Left. This might be before your time. I would individually buy her one peach pop, and she would get a pint of Baldwin's black walnut ice cream.
Mm.
This is like every other day.
Mm.
Every other day. Bro, so me getting introduced as a kid, it stayed with me. It stayed with me, Left.
Yeah.
So yesterday, my wife and I, we had some incredible, shout out to Exclusive Jerk in Chicago Heights, incredible chicken. We had a whole chicken dinner, just the chicken, white meat only, fantastic, like perfect. Like, the jerk is not too spicy, but it's right on the edge of spicy, just enough where you feel like you're about to sneeze and your eyes are about to water. It's like right there.
But it smooths out.
But it smooths out. It's perfect, Left. And the chicken was juicy. It was perfect.
Mm.
And I'm sitting there and
That's
I'm
right.
like, yo, we're watching movies together. And I'm like, man, I want some dessert. What should I get? And I thought about my grandmother and I was like, man, I want some black walnut ice cream. So I go on DoorDash because I got lazy because we were watching the movies. And I'm like, man, I'll order on DoorDash. And these dudes have no selection for black walnut. Baskin Robbins, let me put y'all up on a little game, man. Because, wait a minute, because I've gone to the Baskin Robbins that I'm ordering from, and they consistently run out of black walnut.
Or they run out.
They consistently run out. But how is it not available to order on the food apps? Like, look, man, do a better job. Do a better job with your options. You got to have black walnut available for the culture, man. That's like having an 80s, 90s party and you're not playing Run DMC and LL Cool J.
You're just missing the boat.
You're missing the boat. Come on, man. You just ruined my whole experience. I'm thinking about my grandmother and you just ruined it, man. So what did we learn today? DoorDash needs to do a better job.
They'll provide that.
And Baskin Robbins. Absolutely. And Marcus Freeman and 112. They were sitting there waiting for Sam Hartman to come through the door, singing dance. I see you in the parking lot, and it will get you down to the spot.
So he's in the group. Bring him. Put you in the group.
And Cap Marcus, what I can tell in your eyes that you're feeling me, and I really want you.
You know, he got that Under Armour suede leather coat. There's with me. Yeah. Marcus Freeman
doing the slam. Oh,
yeah, hitting them notes now. Hitting them recruiting notes, just right.
No, Ryan Loftus, I do mess with Kilwins. I go to the one in Hyde Park all the time.
Kilwins is good, yeah.
Yeah. Dude, they have a coconut chocolate chip at Kilwins.
I have to try it.
It's fantastic, dude. Fantastic. I go to the one in Hyde Park all the time, Ryan Loftus. Rock with them all the time. But I'm out in the burbs. Making that trek to the city, that has to be planned, bro. All right. Lucky Lefty Podcast. Great show. Great week of shows. We appreciate you guys. We do it for you. We'll be back next week. More interviews. Yeah, we'll get Marcus Freeman. We'll have anybody on the show. You know us. We'll have anybody on the show. We don't care because we spend it different. Everybody have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you guys on Monday for another edition of the Lucky Lefty Podcast. Enjoy yourselves, but most of all, make sure that you spend it different.